So I just got done watching The Nun 2. Yes, this is another film in the Conjuring franchise, a direct sequel to the original Nun film that came out quite a few years ago. I didn't hate that one. I thought it was fine, thought it was decent, thought they could improve on some things, but it was a blending of horror and adventure, and I dig a good, decent adventure film, because we don't get a lot of them. So The Nun 2 is not an adventure film this time. This time it is actually a murder mystery blended in with a horror movie. And it's about the same. On par with the very first one, but some things very much hold this movie back from being better and really much just as good. Again, on par, but I walked away from this movie not really knowing how to feel, feeling mixed in all sorts of ways, and just walking out going, that was fine. I wanted a lot more from this Nun film personally, and I expected that because The Conjuring, the first one at least, is one of my favorite horror films of all time. I love that movie. I love the Warrens. I love diving into their whole ecosystem. I know The Nun is not an actual case. That was something that was actually created in post-production, since the original demon from The Conjuring 2 was, well, not working out for James Wan and their audience. And The Nun really much was one of the scariest aspects of The Conjuring 2. That freaked me the hell out. You get the first movie and you're like, okay, this could be decent. It was fine. And it was fun. It was entertaining. I don't know what they were doing with this one. It's like they just made another one just because the first one made money, which is exactly why most horror movies get a sequel anyways, but I digress. This movie takes place in 1956 France, where a priest is murdered and evil is spreading. The sequel to the worldwide smash hit follows Sister Irene as she once again comes face to face with Valak, the demon nun. This is directed by Michael Chavez, who did Curse of La Llorona and The Conjuring 3. La Llorona I wasn't a big fan of either. Conjuring 3, I actually was surprised by that one, but that's what we're dealing with here. Now, before we get any further into this, I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts. Are you in the minority? Do you love The Nun 2? Do you think it's better than the first one? Do you love the Conjuring franchise? Which one's your favorite? Look forward to a Conjuring movie franchise ranking coming later this weekend, as well as I might be doing a ranking, or maybe just a short ranking of all the Conjuring monsters. We'll definitely see if I get time to do that, but also make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, because if you are a fan of movies, this is certainly the channel for you guys. I put out a new video every single day, something related to movie or TV, so I definitely will have something that you're interested in probably once a day. And with that said, the number one thing I love talking about when I get into my reviews is the pros, and since I don't have a lot of them, let's start with that. So flat out, first off, the performances are actually always really solid in here. I think Taissa is really freaking fantastic in this role. I thought she was great in the first one, and again, I thought she was great in this one. It just really much, she didn't get as much screen time in this one since it's split between so many different characters, but she's still good. And along the likes of Storm Reid, another actress who I just think has been phenomenal. If you haven't seen the film Missing this year, you absolutely should. I think it's on Netflix right now. She's fantastic in that. But she was also great in this, and I really love their chemistry. Again, we'll talk about this. I wish they had more to do. I wish we got more with them, but they're both great. Jonas, awesome in the first one. Thought he was great in here as well. Anna Popplewell, great for what she has for the material. And Caitlin Downey, who plays the young girl in here, she's good. She's good. That's about it. Michael Chavez as a director is actually really solid. I just think he gets movies that just don't have great scripts. Curse of La Llorona, the biggest issue with that film was the script, not the direction. The Conjuring 3, what was the problem with that film? The script. The script was weak, and the same thing goes for this movie. The script is once again weak, mediocre, and something that we've absolutely seen before. But what I can say is that Michael directs what's on that page, but he directs some things to be very spooky, very eerie, and he gives us good set pieces with Valak, the nun demon. He gives us good set pieces with different creatures and monsters. There's a couple other creatures and monsters that I didn't know were in this film, and they are awesome. There's this goat-like one that I'll just leave right there, but it's fantastic. Again, Michael does a really good job bringing that to life. The scares or whatever, they're fairly predictable. You know where they're going to come from, but those are written into the script, and effectively they are lit and look well done. Again, the set pieces for everything are fantastic. There's one with these magazine covers that I know have been in the trailers, but that sequence as a whole, awesome. The entire third act I actually thought was crafted very well, and the new mythology building that they actually build into the Conjuring universe, I actually wish they doubled down on more, because it was fascinating to say the least. Again, Michael, while I have not loved a movie of his, he proves once again that he just gets that eerie, horrific set design. And when it comes down to like the third act of this, there's one sequence in particular that reminded me of like this is going to sound weird to compare this, but a boss battle from like a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne video game. And if you've played those, you know exactly the giant set pieces that you can get in there. The way that he displays the demon in that exact moment was one of the coolest ways that I've viewed this demon so far. And I have to give a shout out to him on that. These creative set pieces that aren't all too scary, but they do pertain some entertaining moments. And that's about where all my pros lie, sadly. So let's jump right into my mixed bag. And my mixed bag actually ends up being the story, like I said. The script is very weak in here. Not just with the dialogue, you can definitely tell who are the stronger actors than the others. The stronger actors can definitely lead this film even with weak material, but alongside that, it's the story itself. The story itself I actually found to be highly disappointing, mostly because you get a blend of murder, mystery, and horror, and I think that's an awesome thing to do. Specifically, it's about two nuns very much going around France trying to investigate who is killing these priests. Now, us as the audience, the problem with this is we already know who's doing this. And if you've already seen the first Nun film, you absolutely know who's doing this. And then if you don't remember the Nun film, they remind you, because I was one of those people. I didn't even really remember the first one. But it reminded me very early on, oh, I know who this is. I know what's going on now again. And the second it jumps into that, it seemed to be something that was an excellent idea, but if you didn't have the same characters. And obviously I understand that they had set that up at the end of the first film, so they kind of had to go along with it. But it's that essence that maybe bringing in new characters could have made it a little bit stronger in that part. And I like the tone, I like the time period that we're playing around in, but maybe just jumping forward would have been better. And while they are very much middle of the road, again, we'll talk about that, the murder mystery here is just predictable. It's obvious, you know where it's going to go, and it just falls into a very seamless path that you've seen before. And that's what became disappointing. I wish they would have done more with that, and if they weren't going to, I wish they would have done more with our main two characters then, because for me, they have too many characters introduced into this film, mostly for the fact that they can just murder people and give us those kills, which I will say, I didn't get to say this in my pros. The kills are actually pretty damn good in here. They're probably the most gruesome that we've gotten in a Conjuring franchise film yet, so shout out to that. They actually did go further with that, and I was actually all for that, but again, I wanted more of the two main characters actually interacting. I wanted more of character development and stuff, because the first two Conjuring films, the best part about them is not just the scares. It's the Warrens. We need characters that we can root for and characters that make us intrigued to want to continue this adventure. If I was watching this at home, I don't know if I would have finished the movie. Personally, like if I had gotten busy, gotten up, done something else, I don't know if I would have came back to it. Because I already knew where it was going to go, and by the time it ended, I knew it was going to end there. And that goes to my other, actually jumping right into my issues now. My major issue is the ending's very lackluster. Like, you have this awesome, gigantic set piece, and then the film just ends. Very anticlimactic. Not saying that I needed some whole big wrap-up or some other thing saying, like, leading to doom, but I definitely needed a little bit more there. And on top of that, again, I can go through it. It's not scary. The jump scares are predictable. The set pieces are cool, but I want more from that. There's not enough character development. There's too many characters. And I've just seen it before. Like, in an era where we are getting so many unique horror movies from so many visionary directors, I wish the quality of these Conjuring franchise movies were with the quantity. And it's not there. And at this point, I'm about done with the spinoffs. Like, I don't care anymore for the Conjuring spinoffs. I would rather them just continue anything with the Warrens, which, if I remember correctly, I think they already announced the Conjuring 4. Nervous, because James Wan's not coming back, but I don't know. Man. I don't know. I'm very mixed on this one. Like, everything that's great in this movie and good, they do something that's just like, oh, okay. Reason that I'm actually more mad about this is because it's just not memorable. It's very forgettable. I watched an hour and 55-minute movie, and I'm not even going to remember it. Sometimes where I wish they would have gone a little bit more crazy with some of the demon-possessing stuff. There's some moments that are awesome, but for every moment that's awesome, it's very eh. And again, I've seen so many horror films this year, and this one will not stand above them all. This is a decent, fine film. It's not terribly made. It's not terrible. It's not bad. But it's also not great. It's literally the definition of fine. F-I-N-E. Fine. And that's it. That's it. So, I don't have much more else to say about this film. The Nun 2 is about on par with the original. I think if you like the original, you're probably going to like this one, but you're going to walk away kind of feeling the same way as me. Like, you'll either think it's better or about the same, but you're not going to remember it. Unless you love it, then maybe this will be right up your alley. I'm not sure where I really fall on this one. As the set pieces are great, the production design is eerie, and the genre blend of murder mystery is intriguing, but everything just feels very middle of the road, and I ended up leaving this film going, I'm mixed. It's a mixed bag, and I'm probably going to forget this movie in T-1 day. So with all that said, I'm going to give The Nun a C. Thank you so much again, guys, for watching this. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment down below your guys' thoughts. Look forward to that Conjuring ranking coming very soon. And, of course, until next time, stay classy.